All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about occult transvestites. Basically, are you awake yet to the show? You know, the sickness of where life is leading, pointing in all directions, and it's like some people don't realize it. I get now where the people are coming from, and as far as the people who say some of the stuff that I talk about is bullshit, like your trolls and your people that will tell you you're crazy, you're dumb, what do you mean it's not a globe? Satanism, you know, that's what it is. I never in a million lifetimes would have figured this out, and you got to figure out if you know this, if you can see this in front of you. It is as bad as it gets if you're paying attention to what I'm talking about, and that would mean man playing woman and woman playing man by design, right? This isn't your gender dysphoria. They do this on purpose to their children. I don't know how some people can't see this because it's so obvious once you try to figure this out, and this goes into what I was talked about in my last video about occult breeding farms, as far as like the Finders cult and everything. That's way bigger than what just one, small cult. This is, all across the United States, and I'm pretty sure probably all across Europe. And it makes you look at your life before you realized all this, and you're like, man, was that a transvestite? And it's sad, but you have to come to the realization, be real with yourself, because this is what it is. I was joking and not really joking because it's the truth. Like, I have not knowingly masturbated to a transvestite, and any man can say that. Just are you willing to criticize yourself? And this hits deep with maybe your friendship, people you know, people you have known your whole life. You're like, oh, that guy with the gay son. Yeah, that might be it. Now, what I'm talking about is, this is what is your world stage. This is what I talked one about Vince McMahon, right? And Stephanie McMahon and how she's a transvestite. But why isn't it the other way? Why isn't Shane McMahon a transvestite? And this is what the families do to their children. Male collarbones are very distinct. They're straight across, flat across. Females have shorter collarbones. The scary part is that this is all in cahoots with your medical industry. Your medical industry has been doing this to children knowingly throughout the past century. This is as sick as it gets. I'll tell you a little story of my own family. My brother, my my oldest brother, who's about a year and a half older than me, he took genotropin growing up. He didn't hit his growth spurt, so he took genotropin growing up. But this is the type of drugs that people give their daughter, right, to be a male, to grow. And it's sick to think that this is it, right? That this is what they are doing. This is why you see so many of them. And maybe I'll share a link to the video. But I wanted to talk about Candace Owens and Sean Ryan. They had this podcast and they talked about some of the things that I'm talking about in my video. They didn't go so far as to say that they are both probably occult transvestites, and that in itself, because I couldn't pinpoint how people would sell out or why they would sell out. But you have to understand that this is what their families believe in, right? They don't want to admit that they are. I have no idea if Sean Ryan's an actual transvestite, but it makes sense to understand some of these occult soap operas that you get presented, such as the Johnny Gaudreau. Honestly, the video I posted on Johnny Gaudreau, I believe he's at West Point. They didn't post that out of without some type of mockery. The video I did on him, I did one on Dakota Meyer, Chad Dorman. And somebody asked me, how do I know all this stuff? Well, I've been paying attention to knowing that you're being lied to almost about everything. And when I first saw some of these things come across my channel, or my views, when I first saw it, I was like, wow, they look so similar. And then you have to understand that they get plastic surgery, they have all the surgeries, they get fake Adam's apples, they get their chin shaved to go play a different part. It is almost unbelievable, but once you realize that everything is a bold-faced lie, like I did one on, because the same thing happened with the quarterback from the Redskins, the guy who played at Ohio State, how he was hit by a truck, riding his bicycle. Like, they literally took the same script and played it. But you have to understand that this is part of your fake shootings, your soap opera that you get presented. They all believe in this, which is kind of sick, because basically you realize that you have no control over it. You can't get anybody to wake up to it. And you're like, man, and even if I did, how would you go about defeating it? And you don't. But is Candace Owens ever going to admit that Charlie Kirk's assassination nonsense is fake? That Candace Owens is a he, she? That's what I believe in. That's what I see with my own eyes. That is what the truth apparently appears to be to me. A lot of this stuff is not that hard to grasp. It's not like I'm reaching and, not trying to make sense of it. But this is what I see, and I think most people, when they look at it at face value, you mean to tell me that the police officers are faking body cam videos and presenting them to the masses, and the masses are going to eat it up and be like, oh, did you hear about it? Because I hear it within my family all the time. Oh, did you hear about that one guy who had sex with his dog and killed his mother? Yeah, there's a police body cam. And on that, I'm being sarcastic there, but you have to understand, you're like, wow, like, you believe just anything. You wouldn't believe that people are that evil and gullible enough that there is a society underneath the police industry that fakes and presents phony, erroneous videos. And it's not that far off. It's about as 1984 as you can get. It's just like, how can't anybody else see this? Am I going insane, or is the world in itself insane? And that's pretty much what it is, right? We have a fake NASA. We get lied about and told it's a globe. We run mass active shooter drills that are completely fake at the school. And and I saw, my brother was watching it. He was watching Candace Owens and Sean Ryan, and he's not, I wouldn't say onto it, but I have his ear within telling him some of this stuff. And a lot of this is like, what do you call it, nature versus nurture. I'm the youngest of 5 siblings, so I tend to see a lot of stuff and not say something, but I have a pretty good memory as far as if it's important stuff, I'll memorize certain things. I won't remember your quadratic formula. And, as much as you want to say is are you being educated when you go to school, or are you being indoctrinated? Being indoctrinated, let's face it. I don't know where else I was going with this videos, but if you can see the transvestites in your everyday life, you are starting to wake up to, eventually this is going to sell the mark of the beast. It's hard to grasp the other side of it, because it's how do you get away from all of this bullshit, your phone, your information and stuff? And do you believe in Jesus Christ? Do you believe in the truth and the beast imagery and prophecy? Most people don't. Most people don't think there's a God, and this is the other aspect of it. Ooh, big car accident here. Ooh, big car accident here in Las Vegas. Most people don't believe that there's a God, and I can understand why, but you also have to understand why would God create this this massive deception? Why would our Creator create this massive deception? And honestly, throughout life, you realize you have free will. God gave you free will to do anything that you desire, anything you want. He give you everything. He'll let you be evil. He'll let you be good. But you also have to understand that God, I believe, created this deception to tell you that there is a heaven, there is a place beyond this, past your fancy cars and past all of the bullshit that you get presented. There is, and I think that's also scary because you realize, do you think God would let these evil people get away with it? And then somebody was talking about, you know, the fake wars and everything like that. What God would create all these wars and stuff, and it's not of God's doing, right? God's not making these wars to sell the weapons to turn it around and point them at you. God looks down at that and probably is mad about it, right? So you have to understand that there is Satan, a devil, evil and good, right? And God. And you have to understand that before you can get anybody if you're not a transvestite, think about it and put yourself in those shoes and thank God that you're not one of them. But it also means that you have to live a little bit more righteous in truth and in spirit. And I never in a million years would have thought that I would try to start preaching the Bible. I'm still learning it myself to understand this before I start, even if I want to preach Jesus Christ, because I believe it. I think there's a lot of stuff that men become addicted to that puts us down spiritually, whether it's the rat race of the black sun and the time zones, right? And being enslaved to a 24-hour clock and a piece of paper. I mean, if you put it that simple, that's what we are as humans. The devil has created us into slaves of a time zone, black sun, 24-hour clock, and you're all manipulated by a piece of paper or a metallic object. Because let's face it, gold as humans is the most sought after precious resource we have. But in all honesty, it's just a piece of metal. Is it metal? If you go into geology, I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyways, if you've woken up to the Satan's transvestites, God bless you. And if you are a transvestite, God bless you as well, because I can understand a little bit from where they're coming from too, because let's face it, if Satan wanted to control the world, how would he do it? How would he manipulate man into being his slave? That's pretty bold and pretty crazy, if you ask me. Anyways, take care. God bless. Good night.